YMCA. Oh, my mask is a bit wonky. I'll sort it out. Hi, my name is Jason Overman. I'm a engagement worker for the YMCA and a comedian who is sometimes be called funny. My plan for today, I'm going to go through a little bit of what it's like to start comedy, what it's like to a bit of how I prepare for a show, a bit of how to start writing some comedy, a bit of how to take the ideas you've got and sort of expand on them, make them more of a full idea rather than you just going for a quick joke, which is generally what I do anyway. So you'll probably all be better than me by the end of it. So I'm going to go through a few lessons that I've been taught while I've been performing. I'm going to start off with a little bit of a warm-up, vocal warm-up that I like to do. It's based on a poem which got my phone. I'm not just, again, looking at my phone. It's based on a poem called The Chaos by a Dutch author whose name I can't pronounce. It's a great example of the way the English language can be manipulated and used. I do a lot of one-liners, a lot of puns, and being able to manipulate language is the main part of that. So you don't want to, you need to be able to look at words, you need to have to take them apart, put them back together, give them different meanings, and that's what a pun is. I shouldn't have to be explaining what puns are, that's terrible. We're going to put a link in the chat to this poem, so if any of you want to try it out yourselves. We should be having a second session at 2 o'clock. We're going to open up a Zoom chat on that one, so if anyone wants to come on, maybe do some comedy or read out bits of the poem as well to show everyone how difficult it is and how stupid you can look doing it. So I'll start off by reading a bit of it, seeing if I can do some, and then I'm going to get the wonderful Chris, who hopefully you saw do his circus skills yesterday, to read a couple or read a verse, just so you can see what it's like and see how everyone sounds while they're doing it. So let's start with an example of here. I'm gonna read from my phone. So, dearest creature in creation, study in English pronunciation. I will teach you in my verse. Sounds like corpse, core, horse, and worse. Pray, console your loving poet. Make my coat look new. Now sew it. Just compare heart, hear and heard. Dies and diet, Lord and word. As you can see already, what you do on that one is you've got a lot of words spelled similar, sound similar, but are slightly different. One of the important things to do when you're on stage is to make sure people can understand what you're saying. I often, when I get nervous, I can sort of trip over my words and struggle a little bit to make myself sound clear and make sure people know what's going on. So I find doing something like this where I use lots of different sounds, warm my voice up, really helps. I'm going to invite Chris on now.
Yeah.
The wonderful Chris. Not today playing with fire, which isn't ideal. Not going to talk about what happened in the hostels with fire.
What year?
What marks are still in the office from people's fire sticks.
Oh yeah! I left my mark behind.
Yeah, you're always with us. So I'm going to pass this over if you want to.
Yeah, right. Let's pick one. These are not easy reads. Alright, let's see how terribly this goes. Liberty, library, heathen heaven, Rachel, Locke, mustache 11. We say hallowed but allowed. I think I done that wrong. People, leopard, toweled but vowed.
Good job.
You just feel constantly like you're stuttering into
Yeah.
the next kind of word. It doesn't flow. It's not a real sentence. You're just stuttering to the next part.
That's why I like it, because as well as being the warm up and making you make the different sounds, and if you do trip up over something, it gives you an idea that if you do it on stage and you start tripping over your words, you know how to recover. But it also helps me come up with things to write as well, because when you're doing puns, when you read so many words with different sounds, it gives you ideas of how to mess up the language even more. And yeah, it's the stupidest, most wonderful language in the world.
Oh, yeah.
Which is why we have so many great comedians, because you can mess everything up. But good job, Chris. Thank you for joining me. Like I said, I'm going to put a link. I'm gonna put a link to the poem in the chat later on. And what I'd like to do, if any of you want to join us on Zoom and that, it'd be fun to see you read out some verses from there. You know, it doesn't matter if you get it wrong. The whole point of it is to make you trip up, make you get it wrong. You know, half of comedy is messing up. Like, some of the greatest routines come from going wrong and then learning how to build on that. There's some weird things like a lot of comedy. I hope I'm not revealing the industry secret here, but a lot of it, you watch someone, you think, wow, they're really quick, they improvise that brilliantly, they can think on their feet. But actually what it is we prepare massively, we're really boring, and you make a mistake once on stage and you think of something that is okay, and once you've done that once, next time it happens you do it again, and you prepare all these different scenarios of different ways you can all these different ways that you can recover, or you can go if something happens and you've just got your brain full of a stupid amount of information throughout your life of things you don't need to know. However, most comedians as well, great at pub quizzes. So if you want to become a comedian, you can also win money at quizzes. So that's one bonus. Just checking where I was going next. So next, a bit about performing here. So I struggle massively with nerves before I go on stage. It's really I really struggle with it. Always feel like I'm going to be sick before I go on stage, and it's a really common thing. If you watch, if you sort of see comedians backstage before they're going on, you'll see everyone with a slightly different plan, a different way they prepare. I get quite nervous in places that I find it best to do things like reading that poem, going over something. I'm quite quiet before I start as well. I try and get in the zone, try and ignore everything that's going on around me, and then when I go on stage, it's fine, but it's though getting through that. I've known people to get really get loads of energy before they go on. I've seen people jump around, do some air boxing and that. I've seen people look like they're about to cry. I've seen people go to the toilet about 100 times in 10 minutes. Everyone has it differently, and it is a scary thing because you're putting a lot of yourself out there. But once you work out something, again for me, that poem, once you work out something that helps you get up there, once you get past the worst bit, which is preparing to go on stage, once you get on there, it's incredible. It's probably the thing the most enjoyable thing I do. Once you're up there, you get so much adrenaline, you forget about all of these terrible things unless your routine's about terrible things. But you get up there and you forget about that, and you just making people laugh. The reactions of the audience for me that's what I'm there for. You see someone laugh, you see a laugh spread throughout the room. So you see one person get the joke, and you see it, and like you see them explain it to their mates, or you see people get it at different times, and it's a great thing just watching how people react to you, and in that, watching people react to you is another big part of comedy. So not everyone's gonna like everything you do. I'm fairly lucky that I've not had a complete disaster yet, but I've definitely had a fair few gigs where people haven't been that interested. If you play some random pubs in the middle of nowhere with 5 people who are drunk and don't care about you, they're not gonna really be laughing. So that's that can be quite difficult, but you sort of have to go through it and still get a few laughs there, but sometimes you can get a room which just isn't interested, and it can be very difficult. But what you can do though, if you're reading the room, so say you try out a lot of people will start, if you watch them online, if you watch some comedy online, a lot of people will try, you'll see at the start they have a few different types of jokes, like you'll see they maybe some very light-hearted ones, some whimsical ones, maybe some dark ones, and you'll see they'll possibly change their set slightly depending on which gets the best reaction. And again, that's important to watch what is happening, find out if people like it. I've got a few dark jokes which I'm probably not allowed to tell on this stream, as a bit dodgy. But those ones, I start with a small one, slightly dark joke, see how that goes. If the audience laughs, great. Try another one and sort of see how far I can go and see if they do enjoy it. Sometimes the audiences that love the dark jokes absolutely love them, like they are there for it, and you can really do well if you get one of those audiences. But you have to be willing to throw your stuff away if you have an audience that doesn't like it, or you have people who walk out because they don't like the themes of what you do. I've had an issue, so like I said, I do work at the YMCA. I don't really do anything in my set about what I do here, because previously I tried a bit in a routine where I did mention roughly about what I do and what we deal with here at the YMCA, and as I assume people know, we can deal with some fairly hefty subjects. I tried, a little routine, just mentioned something that had gone on. Once I did that, I got a complete blank look from that audience. They just had no idea what was going on, and you realise that maybe people they don't really want to know about homeless young people at a comedy show. They feel really guilty, and it did not work. And so I just had to throw that away. I was like, it's got some good jokes in it, that bit, but people don't want to hear about that at a comedy show. Well, not at the moment anyway. Hopefully they'll learn to deal with that stuff later. Next on, I'll look at my phone again. So I've got an exercise here it's a good little way to learn how to write. So obviously everyone can write comedy. If you've made a joke, you're pretty much a comedian. All you have to do is stand up in front of people and tell it to officially become one. So it's really quite easy to do. However, it's expanding those little bits into a full into a full set, into a full actual routine, that is difficult. I think like the most important thing, like if you watched Ruby stream the other day, it's the same with poetry. The most important thing is to write down your ideas all the time. If you've got a pen and paper with you all the times, write down. You've got a phone, have a little notepad, just little ideas. And then this exercise I've got here is a good way of expanding on them. I've chosen a subject here, but you can use it on anything. I'm just going to look at this because I can't quite read my phone. So again, I will put a link to, or the description of the exercise, so people can see what it is and get involved. So first bit is, so within 5 minutes, you jot down a few headlines, at least 3 headlines, to stories inspired, stories from your life inspired by the 7 deadly sins. So pride, greed, wrath, envy, lust, gluttony, and sloth. So you put in, you think about when have you done something, that shows you were a bit greedy, that you was prideful. One, just a quick headline, only needs to be like 8 words, hardly anything, that's fine. Once you've done that, you take a couple of minutes to choose 3 stories. So if you did all 7, just choose 3 of them, and flesh it out into a quick story like you were doing a newspaper article. So you take that story from your life, you make a quick little article about it, only needs to be a paragraph or 2, doesn't need to be long, it's just a way to expand on a subject. I quickly, last night I took 10 minutes and quickly smashed a few of these together. Unfortunately my computer crashed and I didn't save it all, so I've only got part of what I prepared, but I'll try to do some improv and see how that goes. First, for wrath, went for studies show increasing levels of anger in Jason Overman when the word Tory is mentioned. Again, kind of true. Maybe not massive anger, but based on truth. It's based on something anyway. Went for gluttony. Receipt shows multi-pack of donuts. However, no evidence was found at the home of local comedian 30 minutes later. Again, everyone's done that. Who doesn't eat all their food before they get home? Finally, sloth. Hungover man orders takeaway from shop that he can see from his flat. Old thing from years ago. Don't drink it now. Don't drink, kids. But something that happened. Couldn't get up the energy to walk across the road, ordered food, and could see someone literally walk straight from the restaurant straight to my flat at the time. So yeah, that was a couple of minutes, chose some things, just thought of random subjects, things that I might have done in my life. Literally only take a couple of minutes doing that. Don't overthink it, just throw some stuff together. Then the next part is, you expand on it. So do a quick little article. I've written down what I've done there. So for the first one, for the wrath, I went for is, recent studies have shown that when the word Tory is mentioned in front of comedian Jason Overman, 32, you will see an increase in blood pressure and the volume of his voice. Initial studies suggest that even a suggestion about the current government of the UK can incite a rant about heartless, cowardly idiots, which usually contains language not suitable for a stream during an online youth festival. You've taken a little thing from your life. You go, okay, let's exaggerate it, let's increase it, and let's make something about it. Don't have to make it about hating Tories, but it's not a bad thing to do. I mean, no, there are other governments available. Secondly, for the gluttony, what I went for was in crime news. Police are looking for evidence of a missing six-pack of chocolate donuts. They were last seen in a Tesco superstore in Norwich, being purchased by a worker for YMCA Norfolk. However, upon his return home, they were nowhere to be found. When interviewed, Jason Overman denied knowledge of ever buying these. I must have forgot to pick them up, said Overman, wiping a smear of chocolate from around his mouth. I mean, there's no way I could have eaten 6 in the 30-minute walk home, is there? That would be outrageous. When questioned as to why the receipt showed this purchase, Overman refused to comment. So, again, just taking what you got, expanding on a bit, you'll find. So there's a bit I was going to do a bit later, but one of the important rules of comedy, or, it's not really rules, but guidelines, if you're going to make fun of someone, don't make fun of a vulnerable person. That's not funny. That's if you're mocking someone vulnerable, you're pretty much just being a bully. But you can use yourself as a target if you want to do that joke. If you need to target someone, you've got that option. You don't want to use it all the time because it doesn't really come off. But if you need a target, best use yourself or someone in a position of power, because don't make fun of vulnerable people. That doesn't work. Finally, so for the last one, calling myself celebrity here, so proper up myself. So in celebrity news, it's come to light that Jason Overman once ordered food from a restaurant, Yellow's, despite being able to see the restaurant from his living room. A source close to Overman cites him saying, "Ugh, I feel like crap and need a burger." This source, the source felt this reasonable due to the amount of alcohol that was imbibed the night before, but was horrified when rather than walking the short distance outside of his flat to the restaurant, he used the popular delivery app to have the food delivered at a large price hike with an exorbitant delivery fee. So again, taking something that happened, expand on it, make up. Make up something that sounds believable. Not everyone's going to be a winner. Again, my notebooks are full of loads of discarded ideas and terrible bits of comedy that no one ever needs to hear. The next bit is, so what you do is you take one of those stories and you rewrite it first as if you were telling it to someone you're close to, and second, if you were telling it to a stranger, and think about how you would tell it differently. This is a way to get an idea of a few different comedy styles. So like a great example of this is Stuart Lee. He's one of the greatest comedians ever. He's really good at getting the audience emotionally invested in what he's saying. So if you treat them as like they're close to, like you're talking to people you've known for a long time, it's a really good idea to. That's a good way to get them invested. If you can catch an audience like that, get them emotionally invested in what you're saying, you have the ability to really land your punchlines, and get people laughing, clapping, cheering, hopefully, and then hopefully more people will book you for gigs. So I've taken the first one here. This is where my computer messed up, so it's going to be half done, half fun, improvised. So if I was if I was treating the audience as if I was telling it to someone close to me, you'd try maybe with your body language as well. You know, lean forward, be like, oh, they said it again. They keep saying it. Oh, sorry, I can't read what I wrote. They should know by now. They don't want even to think about them. Don't they realise that those people have ruined the country? Coming here, sponging off the state, taking all my hard-earned taxes. The other day I was in a vegan cafe and there was a Conservative there in a suit, drinking a latte like he hasn't ruined the country. Is nowhere safe. Are they gonna take over our farm shops? I kind of forgot where I go for fun because I've not been able to leave the house for 6 months. So there so you start off with the audience know what you're talking about. You reel them in. What I tried to do with that one, as you can obviously tell, is you try and make them think you're talking about something else. I was going for people think I was talking from the perspective of a racist rather than mocking them. So, you know, it's a good way. Get them invested, then hit them. The other one, which is completely deleted when my computer messed up. So treating someone like you don't know them. This is a good way to learn how to do like deadpan. If so you avoid the emotional connection. It's not something I'm great at, to be fair. I'm not really a deadpan comedian. I find my own jokes too funny and end up laughing at myself. But it can really work. So if you're treating someone, if you write it as if speaking to a stranger, you'll possibly maybe even over-explain what you're doing. So, you know, if you over-explain, you put all of the detail in there, but take out all the emotion, take out all the reaction. So when you're telling it, that way, the audience, you're hoping for them to start laughing a little bit, and then you increase it throughout by just doubling down on it, and just carrying on, by going down that route. I'll try for the next one to make sure I've got my thing there because it's deleted it and I can't remember what I said. And like I say, it's not my strong point, unfortunately. So that's a little way to do some writing. Lastly, I'm going to talk about some performing tips. So these are just a few things that helped me when I was starting out, because I decided that I wanted to do it. I've wanted to do it for years, a few episodes, but just over 2 years I've been doing comedy. I decided I wanted to do it. I've been thinking about it for ages, and suddenly I was like, you know what, I'm going to do it. I found a local open mic, which hopefully soon will be open again, and just put my name down, turned up, did it. I had no idea what I was doing really, wasn't great, but it made me realise there are some things I didn't know, like how to use a microphone. I hadn't decided on how I wanted to use the mic, didn't really know how they worked beyond they made your voice louder. So, important things to think of. One, microphones generally are directional. So if you choose to hold one, let's pretend my bottle of Lucozade here is a mic. If you choose to hold it, make sure you point it directly at your mouth. Keep it generally quite close. If you're in open mics and you're in a low, you've not got your own equipment, you're probably not going to be the highest quality ones. So you normally need to keep them quite close to your mouth, talk clearly into them. It is something that you will learn a bit when you do it. You don't want feedback, so you'll learn what level or what volume your voice needs to be. But generally make sure you just directly into the mic. That's the important thing. Next, do you want to hold the mic? Do you want to leave it in the stand? So when I first did it, I was holding the microphone. Then I thought, you know what? Or actually, someone told me that I kept, as you probably noticed, I use my hands quite a lot. Someone mentioned that I was using my hands. Sometimes I moved it away from my mouth, and I was like, you know what? I could train myself not to do it. I could just leave it on the mic stand, talking directly into that. For me, that was much easier. I definitely, that's the way forward for me. And from then on, a lot better. I feel more comfortable. People can understand me more. I don't move the microphone away from me. So that's something, when you start performing, good to think about. Decide how you want to do it, just so that's when you've got that decided straight away, that's one less thing you need to think about. That's done and it's out of the way. Next, so one of the, again, another important thing, confidence. Even if you're not, like I say, I'm terrified every time I go up there, but you act in confidence, so going up there, owning any mistakes. So if you make a mistake, you can either just move on, or if you want to mention it, you just go, oh, didn't mean that to happen, carry on. Don't go on to, don't sort of obsess over it. Often when you make a mistake on stage, people won't realise. They don't know that you said the wrong word in the middle of your set. Like, it's you spend ages reading over your work over and over again. They have no idea what you're going to say. So generally try and just carry on and act confident like you're meant to do it. Also, so if you've watched a lot of comedy online, say you've watched Jimmy Carr is a big one for this. You might be thinking about, what do I do if I get heckled? What do I do when I talk to the crowd? With that, you generally don't need to worry about it for a long time. So at a comedy club, the MC, the host, they will deal with the crowd. They will speak to the crowd, they'll warm them up, they'll do all of that bit that you've probably seen, again, Jimmy Carr do online. You don't need to worry about it. If someone does heckle you, you can have a comeback, but most people just tell people to shut up, because people pay to see comedy. They don't pay to hear drunk people shout. It's not as common as people think. So don't worry about talking to the crowd unless you want to, but still, it's not an important thing. That's something that once you've got some stage experience, it will get easier and you can start doing that. Going on from the confidence thing, what a good thing to remember is, while you're on stage, you're in charge of the room. The room is yours. You've got to be careful. So again, if you're doing crowd work, be careful with the questions you ask. You kind of want to lead people to say certain things. Obviously MCs ask about jobs and that, but you don't want to really make your questions too open, because you need to remember that you're in charge. You are the people are there to see. So you control that room. It's good to, if you ask a question, direct it so they give you a few specific answers. That way you can prepare for what they say back. You can't prepare for every plan or everything, but you can have plans for most of it, and it makes it so much easier. But again, what I recommend and what most comedians will say, when you're starting out, don't try interact with the crowd. Just get 5-10 minutes of a routine down and just do it. So next, I'd say, important to pace yourself. This is something I can struggle with, especially if something doesn't go well. So if I get some jokes that don't land, maybe I'll speed up. I feel I need to get through it. But at that point, it's important to take a second, take a breath, deliver normal. Like if you rush through it, sometimes people say if you do a joke, maybe someone just didn't understand it. It takes a few seconds for someone to actually get the joke. And if you rush through into the next one, they're not going to have time to actually enjoy that. They're not going to laugh at it because they're going to be reading or listening to your new one, and you've just lost a laugh and you've lost someone's enjoyment of that. So take the time. It's not bad to have a little bit of silence. Like I say, I sometimes struggle with that. I struggle with that a little bit, but it's a good idea. And if you can get that down, when you get nervous, take that deep breath, slow it down when you are nervous. You'll find you'll get better. Usually you'll get better reactions, unless your whole idea is that you talk very fast, unless you're, Lee Evans. Okay, so next one is, I touched on it earlier, so subject matter. It's a difficult one. There are lots of opinions on this. There's no really right or wrong answer. There are a lot of things you can make comedy out of everything, but there are a few things to think about. One thing I think is important. You don't make victims a punchline. So if you talk about something, if you're talking about some difficult subject, like I've got bits in my set about terrorism and murder, they're difficult, they're hard subjects. We live in a terrifying world at the moment. There's a plague happening. So in that, the targets of your jokes are people in power, you perpetrators, or it's the situation, it's not the victim. Because again, if you're targeting a victim, it can feel like bullying, and it's just, I don't think being offensive for offensive's sake is funny. That's just my opinion. Let's say there are other people who have different opinions. Comedy is a subjective art, you can do what you want, but I think that's a good thing to think about. I forgot what I was going to say there. But yeah, so it's just about reading a room, being careful, making sure that what you do, you don't want people walking out. Another rule, again, not a rule, but a local comedian, great one if you ever get to see him, Nelson Gombakomba, he's absolutely incredible. He once said this thing that stuck with me for ages, which is, if you're going to tell an offensive joke, you have to be more funny than you are offensive. If you're more offensive than you are funny, you're bullying. It's as simple as that. If you want to be offensive, you need to work on your actual punchline. You need to work on your joke, because otherwise, it's just mean, and you don't really want to do that. I don't recommend that. So that's the end of my suggestions here. They say what we're going to do, 2 o'clock, we're going to have another workshop, and we want to see if we can get some of you on Zoom, or If you've got questions in the meantime, send them across to. I guess I think there's a chat bot. Where you can send us same questions that you might want to ask, but it'd be nice to get some people involved. That way, we can see what people think. We can hear some people give it a go, read out some of the poem. Show us what you've come up with on the exercise there. We're also tomorrow between 5 and 6. There's open mic night. So if you want to do some comedy, it's going to be pre-recorded. We'll give you the details of where to send your videos or how to upload them. So for tomorrow, send in your comedy, get some people watching them, make some people laugh. It's a great feeling. You've got something that you've done, and hopefully you carry on doing it. But that's going to be all for me for now. Thank you for anyone who actually watched. I think I've now been talking constantly for 40 minutes, which no one really wants to listen to. So thank you for sticking with me, and hopefully I'll see a few of you in an hour and 20 minutes.